All right, folks, good afternoon. Let's go ahead and get airborne. Welcome to Options Weapons School, our second session in our Options Weapons School this week. Got a lot of people entering the room. I figure it's 7 o'clock. We used to do them at 8, East Coast, West Coast, you know, the whole Bloods and the Crips thing. So hopefully 7 o'clock was good with everybody. If not, everything is recorded. Like I just had up a couple minutes ago, the replay page, so you can always check out the replay if you didn't see the primary live trade brief yesterday, or you're not seeing this now, which I guess you wouldn't be hearing live, so that made no sense to say. Yeah, exactly. It's early evening, right, Fish? How's everybody doing? I want to get into some training tonight, most likely iron condors. It's so funny how a pop of 5 points in the S&P 500 they call a rally nowadays, because it does seem like the market's going to be, after the Comey implosion memo, back getting range bound. But you know, you listen to Comedy Central and the cheerleaders making it sound like the all clear was sounded, which I don't think it has. But how many of you, since I know some of our partners emailed today, how many of you, this is the brand new, never heard of TGO, who's this guy with the 50 Red Bulls? Nice day today with trading. Harry, it was a good day with trading. How many of you, just put an N, even if the primary live trade brief yesterday was your first one, let me know if you're new, because it lets me know how much I need to cover in my stuff. Give me an N if you're new. And if you are new, take a look in the chat box. Welcome, John. Welcome, Chris, Steve, Rebecca, Karen. Good. Okay, good. We have a nice new crowd. Saw the PLTB. Okay, good. Awesome. That was a pretty busy PLTB, folks, wasn't it? Did anybody get filled on any of the, like the SPX bull put spread? Because I didn't want to chase that one. Chris, in GoToWebinar, you guys can't see the chat box. It's kind of annoying. And go to training, you can. We use that for our accelerated retirement. Good. Okay, so some of you got filled on that bull put spread, so that's looking at a nice one-day profit, right? So, and we talked about some Golden Sachs and some other stuff as well. So very happy with our primary live trade brief yesterday. Okay, some administrative items. A lot of you, I got a big bump in followers here. Make sure you go to StockTwits. If you don't know what StockTwits is, it's what Yahoo Finance tried to be until it turned into a penny pumping, dumping, you know, if you put anything Spanish on here, they ban you, they grab your IP, and you can't get back on here. So it's I put out some trade ideas and some good stuff, and you can also follow me on Twitter unless you are a liberal, and then you'll probably pull your hair out and block me. So, but you can follow me on Twitter as well, on both StockTwits and Twitter. I am at WizCheck6. So there's my little Twitter thing there, and I put some of that stuff out on there. And then finally, make sure you go to our Facebook page and click like, because I definitely put a lot of political stuff on out there. And politics is driving the markets, folks. I know some people yesterday are like, hey, where are the trades and everything like that? And I excuse those people because they're not going to be good here at TGO. They're just not going to be good members. They're not going to be good squadron mates if you don't understand that politics is driving this. Politics has always driven the market, folks, but more so in this. Okay, so any other... Look at my notes. Any other administrative items? I think we're good, and we can get airborne. Okay, so tonight, towards the end, after I take everybody's questions, I'm going to open up some slots for Options Weapons School, and we only take 25. We take 50 for full throttle, only 25 for Options Weapons School. I don't teach this that often, but due to actually popular demand of my members asking, hey, Wiz, when are you going to teach a course? It was like a year ago. I think a year and a half ago. So obviously my time's a little limited, but hey man, if my current members want me to teach 8 sessions, I'm going to teach 8 damn sessions. So let me just blast through some slides real quick, and then we're going to get to training. And like I said, instead of verticals, well, I guess an Iron Condor is a couple vertical spreads. We did the PLTB yesterday. We're doing the vertical spread training tonight. Towards the end of the webinar, I'm going to open slots, annual slots here for Options Weapons School. I'm going to do a live urgent alert tomorrow. This slide is wrong. It is at 10 a.m. So I'm sorry if that goons up your plans. I'm actually presenting to another trader roundtable tomorrow at 1:45. So that's on me. That was a air traffic control error, and I'll take the hit. So it's going to be at 10 a.m. I'll email the trade out to you along with the replay. So if you can't make the schedule change, that's on me, okay? And then we're going to wrap up on Friday with a debrief. I'm going to take a look at some hedges as well. We got to get long volatility here, guys. This is nuts. It's nuts that the VIX is down here and volatility is priced like, you know, Muhammad Buddha, Gandhi, whoever, Jesus all came back to life and nothing bad is going to ever happen again. That's not true. We saw the VIX go through the roof on the Comey memo last week. It's going to happen again. My call sign's Wiz. It's not Nostradamus. I can't tell you what the event will be. I'm going to throw out some what I think they might be, but still we got to get long involved. And then Friday afternoon, usually by Friday afternoon, after people see the last session, all the slots are full. And as many of my members can attest to, you guys know that when we get 25, we get 25. Okay, let's blast through this real quick, guys. I did the tactical items. Real quick for the people who did give me an N new. As I said, my name's Matthew Buckley. My call sign's Wiz. My parents did love me, I think, but that's not my God-given name. Flew the Hornet for about 15 years for the U.S. Navy, graduated from Top Gun, hence the big marketing budget here at Top Gun Options, and also flew 44 combat sorties over at. Can I get a hell yeah if you like the fact that Tom Cruise today said there's going to be a Top Gun 2? Let me get a hell yeah if any of you guys are cheesy. If I mention that movie, if you mention that movie at Top Gun, it's a $50 fine. So hell yeah, exactly. Chris, ask the Goldman Sachs trade towards the end, and I'll cover it. Double hell yeah, yahoo! There you go. Jester is dead, and I actually was Jester. I was the adversary guy. I was the bad guy at Top Gun. So of the Top Gun guys, the elite, I actually got to be a little bit the best of the best of the best. So that was pretty cool. I started Top Gun Options. I taught myself how to trade equity options when I was a young lieutenant in the Navy. I applied everything I was learning flying fighters, being disciplined, having a strategy, contingency planning, knowing when to get out of a bad or good situation before it got worse, and it really worked. I popped on to, am I going to be the star? Absolutely not. I'm too old. It's a young man's game. 9/11 destroyed my airline dreams. I ended up flying combat air patrol those days over South Texas and defending. I went from potentially flying in an airliner that day to shooting one down. So threw myself into the trading, popped up on the radar of one of the largest volatility arbitrage firms in the United States called Pixis Investments, and also went out and did some motivational speaking talking about how I went from the cockpit to the trading pit, working with literally the Fortune 1 to the Fortune 500 to, you name it, mom and pop companies. One of our members, Mark, I don't know if Mark's in here, but I flew over to Houston and he works for in the death care industry, SCI. So I know a lot about the funeral industry right now. Thanks, Fish. So we laughed last night, or when we did the PLTB, about getting your news from CNBC or any of the financial media. It really is like Comedy Central, folks. I told you the 5-point rally today, it was like, they're playing Hallelujah in the background. Let's not, the all clear hasn't been sounded yet, and we're going to talk about that. There's Peak 6, where I was the managing director of strategy, and I felt like Valentine in Trading Places. Feeling good, Billy Ray, or feeling good, Lewis, looking good, one of those. So that's me. That's a quick bio. Not going to spend any more time on that. You can check out what I've done online. I was the founder and CEO of the Options News Network. No offense to anybody in here from Chicago. Didn't like the weather in Chicago 9 months out of the year, so now it's pouring out down here in Fort Lauderdale, but it's usually pretty beautiful. That's my biggest job right now, as the commanding officer of a pretty cool squadron of little ones. Well, they're not so little. Okay, quick performance here. Let's blow through all this stuff. Blew it out of the water in 2016, mainly because I was one of the few folks in the entire industry to predict the Trump election and the Trump rally. You can look at it. Become a member. You'll have access to all those recordings. All my members can attest to it, especially some of the members that made like $130,000 on Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan trades with 20 contracts. I did 5. I didn't make that much money, but and then my most embarrassing portfolio last year. Take a look at that. AR, Accelerated Retirement, 101% return on risk. Hey guys, losing trades happen. I have to have this slide in here because some of you, we've been doing good for so long here at TGO. I ran numbers today. We're at a 94% hit rate in weekly options. And then when one goes against us, some people start wanking. I'm like, whoa, we lose some battles, folks, but we're winning the friggin' war. So understand losing trades happen, and it's knowing when to get out of them, okay? Harry, don't worry about it. It's I don't think I'm going in and out. A lot of people would have told me. Real quick, our methodology, SOT. The average retail trader is very tactical. You guys don't know what you're doing for lunch, let alone investing out to Jan 19. I'm going to change that. Tonight, even before we do any training, listen to me. Before we did any training in the military, we always got a real world brief, because the training wasn't, hey, let's just get up and do this. The training was, here's why we're training to do this tonight. because of this real world scenario. Now they changed the names. They'd say, okay, country orange is doing this to country blue. And if you weren't asleep for most of your life, you know what's going on. So all the training has to be based in something, and I'm going to tell you tonight what that something is. Then I get operational. You guys saw in the PLTB yesterday, I gave you a worldwide brief about what could reach out and touch us. Then I talked about operational. The Fed today gave a little bit of a relief rally, and a couple of our financial positions caught a little bit of a bid. I think that's going to fade going into the weekend, but we'll talk about that. After we do our SO brief, then we can trade, folks, and get tactical. I love losing people yesterday. I love when those people come and they leave like, all right, dude, we're 10 minutes into this and you haven't talked about trading. Split, you're not going to fit in here, and you're not going to be that good of a trader. Everybody in your handouts box right there, you should have the trade plan. Please download that. I don't have time tonight to go through it step by step. You're going to get that when you get on board, but I am going to use it when I set up my Iron Condor tonight, okay? Are we good? Chris, my son's a rescue swimmer in the Navy and just returned to San Diego from deployment. Chris, thank you for your service. As a parent, you serve as well. So shit hot, man. I didn't know that, Chris. Thank you. Okay, so I did a strategic and operational brief yesterday in the PLTB. Please watch the replay if you didn't get it, because I want to go kind of quick because I want to get to the training, to talking about an Iron Condor and a sample of the training that you're going to get when you grab your Options Weapon School slot tonight. And for my members, it's only $195 for you guys to do the to get my training if you're a full throttle, folks. So we'll talk about that too. This did nothing. Last night, sitting on the couch watching a hockey game, Moody's cut. You know, in case you guys didn't know, this isn't work for me. If I am, I'm always working. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So I'm watching a hockey game, getting ready for what? The next trading day, because Asia can move us. Solid downgrade. I'm like, oh boy. Nikkei, really not moving. Shanghai, actually closed up a little bit. I'm not worried about this. If anything, on a pullback, you need to get in FXI, which we have in a bunch of our portfolios. Okay, so no big issue with China. We know that China's got some warts. But if you're not bullish on your banker, who are you going to be bullish on? I mean, seriously, folks. So the futures were flat essentially last night. China downgrade forgotten. Asia closes higher, futures flat. I'm going to tell you why I think we keep going higher, climbing this wall of worry. And remember, folks, it's anemic volume right now. I think, remember sell in May and go away? That used to be me at peak 6. Hey, junior traders, you got it. I'm going to the Hamptons. I'm going to Big Sur with the mudslide. Don't screw it up. I'll be back. The kids are out of school. I'm out of here. The volume is so low right now. It really does feel like it hasn't rained in a couple years, and we're running around the forest with bottle rockets. So we'll talk about why I think that is. Awful terrorist attack overseas. I went on a huge rant this afternoon in my accelerated retirement service, and somebody asked earlier, like, you had a webinar today, why weren't we invited? That was accelerated retirement. It's a separate portfolio than the Options Weapon School ones, but if you want to add that or just do a retirement portfolio because that's where you are in your plan, you can shoot us a text or shoot us an email, and we'll get you an accelerated retirement. But my rant today, folks, the can't we all just get along Rodney King thing, the answer is no. I've been to, I think it was 9 or 10 Arab countries. I've flown combat sorties over Iraq. I know the culture and the people. How do you negotiate with somebody who wants to wear a vest and blow themselves up at a concert full of children? How do you sit across the table and negotiate with that person? How do you negotiate with guys who put a Jordan F-16 pilot in a cage, douse him in gasoline and light him on fire? How do you negotiate with people that want to fly airplanes into buildings and kill? And you can't, folks. We have to turn these people into hair, teeth, and eyeballs. I'm sorry to say it, and General Mattis, I think, is going to do a good job. But here's what's interesting is, this headline in Zero Hedge, trader appalled at market reaction to the Manchester bombing. There's more to life than the next few basis points. What's he getting at here? Don't we care anymore? I get this whole, the news saying, well, if we freak out a little bit, they win. Well, guess what, man? I'm going to tell you what terrorists do. If they don't get a little bit of a reaction, you know what they do? Well, shit, we got to go bigger. We got to go crazier. Let's go infect some dudes with Ebola and fly them into every major city in the United States, which they are planning to do. So we have to be hedged, folks. If you're going to sit here and just keep buying this and nothing bad is out there, it's going to be horrible for your portfolio. So we're going to talk about hedges in my Friday session, but it's nuts. We got this dude lighting off bottle rockets. The most important thing about this launch is it had a reentry vehicle. You know what that means? He's farther ahead than we thought. So if you're in Hawaii, if you're in Okinawa or Guam, where we have like 80,000 troops, they're beyond in danger. Hawaii, Sand Dog, Oregon, Seattle, you guys are, how's this end? This is another one to the right side of the chart where to the right side of the chart, if I could scribble up here, maybe I could. I need to get like an iPad or something like that. But down here, you put Trump rally in danger, North Korea, Russia, terrorist attacks, Iran, soft economic data. There's so much in this white space down here, it completely outweighs up here. But let me give you one of my big wizisms. You have to trade the market you have, not the one you want. And folks, I'm an American, man. Flight suits in the closet. I don't want the market to implode and people 401ks to become 201ks. But, you know, the market we have, as an options trader, this market can go up, down, or sideways. And I've proven to my members for 7 years, we can do a pretty good job making money. I get that. The market we have is climbing a wall of worry that is just pretending that nothing bad can happen. But look at the violence of something bad happening. Here's the Obamacare. Whoops. Republican, and if you're sitting there like, oh my God, this guy's a dyed-in-the-wood Trump supporter, you're wrong. I think the guy's a little nuts. He lost me when he said, Kim's a smart cookie and I'd love to meet with him. Done. Now you're a lunatic. I like the policies. I don't like the dude anymore. But look at this. Republicans vote to repeal Obamacare 60 times when Obama's in office. First time we try and do it, we fail. Of course the market's going to freak out. Oh my God, his agenda's in danger. Now this one, Comey memo. As many of you heard me yesterday, I'm going to repeat for all the folks who said new. He's either a felon or he's a felon. There's no other choice. And that's why he's not testifying this week, because the congressman from Fort Lauderdale, Matthew Buckley, would say, sir, you're either a felon or a felon. Which one is it? You either committed perjury last month when you sat here and said, direct question, has anybody influenced you to do anything? He's like, nope. Or you're a felon because as a chief law enforcement officer, if the president was giving you the thumb, you should have pulled out your big badge and arrested him right there or resigned. Since you didn't report that as a potential crime, you're a felon. So the Comey bounce back, I predicted, guys. Remember, I said we're probably going to go through the 50-day with some airspeed, but this ain't I call it the Fred Sanford, right? I'm old enough to have watched Sanford and Son growing up. This is, I'm coming, Elizabeth. This is the big one. That wasn't the big one, and I knew we were going to snap back. I didn't think it would be. I mean, we're seriously running out of airspeed here in this 2400 line. I know we popped through it today, but we kind of have been flirting with this. I know nobody. No, I'm on the phone, Skype, text all day with some smart people. Nobody's deploying more capital at these heights here. But also a lot of my buddies don't trade options and they're stuck, but we can. We talked about Brazil the other day. Here's why we're still going up. This, if you guys have ever seen the movie Wall Street, and if you haven't, that's requirement tonight, rent it. The character Gordon Gekko was based after this guy, and he said the other night in an interview, it's the plunge protection team. Reagan more or less sent this up after the last, after the 87 crash, and then the plunge protection team jumped in the tsunami of 2008. We're literally in the everybody gets a trophy right now, folks, and that's what's guiding this market higher because the macroeconomic data suck. Stocks near record highs as economic data crashes to what? 15-month lows. Let me show you a chart here, folks. Where's our macro surprise index? Look at here's the S&P 500, kind of hand-in-hand flying formation with the macro data. The macro data has fallen off a cliff. Things are starting to suck a little bit, and here's the market. Folks, these two lines have to intersect eventually out here someday, and when they do, it's going to be violent and it's going to suck. Finally, before we get to training, because again, I cannot just, hey, good evening, let's do an Iron Condor. We have to talk about a real-world application before we train, why Donald Trump doesn't scare the market. Look at the sub headline. I love the journal, man. You ready? VIX has stayed low, not because the market isn't worried. I just scared the hell out of most of you. A couple people are like, oh, holy crap, Wiz. You know, I'm not Eeyore. But as a fighter pilot, as a options trader, you have to ask yourself, what's my max risk, man? Can we all get wiped out on this mission? Yeah. Admiral, is this a suicide mission? No, Wiz, I don't want to lose any of you. Well, then we need to rethink here. So, but the market it's not because it's worried, but because it doesn't know what to be worried about. Look at everything I just briefed you on, from China slowing down. Remember, they import oil, they import copper, they import iPhones. China slowing down, according to Moody's, ain't good. Nuclear war in the Korean Peninsula. Yesterday, South Korea shot at a UAV that the North sent down. Something goes bump in the night over there, and 4 million people are dead in Seoul in the blink of an eye. There's 15,000 artillery pieces pointed at Seoul, with dudes sitting there like with their hand on the lanyard going, okay. I just scared the hell out of you with all this stuff. Brazil, you know, big scandal down in Brazil, which I'd get long. So even the journal's saying we don't know what to be scared about since everything is scary. So that's why we're going to get a hedge on. Okay. I know there's some comments. Some of the trading comments I'll save to the end, but let me open up here before we get into some Iron Condor training. Any questions, comments, oh, by the ways, or smart remarks? Exactly. Good stuff. Yeah, Harry, you would think that the market would be worried about everything, but they're not. Remember, folks, the VIX, where's my trading platform? The VIX does what? It's looking at S&P futures 30 days out, calls and puts, right? So the spot VIX right now, let me open my Options House platform. And guys, you can trade with whoever you want. There's a question I didn't get to the other day. And you can trade with whoever. I helped build Options House. Actually, it's Trade Monster. Look at this. Here's the evolution of this thing. John and Pete Najarian, buddies of mine from Chicago, they built Trade Monster. You see them on, if you watch Comedy Central, they do the halftime show. Bigger than me, so don't tell them I said anything bad. Then Options House, that I helped build, bought it, and now E-Trade bought it. So, but this is, without a doubt, I think the best platform. So here, what is this? This is the weekly options and urgent alert portfolio. Again, you'll get access to this tonight when you grab your options weapon school slot, and there's our performance year to date. Not too shabby, man. XLF is boring, and Disney took a little bit of a shot in the gut here, but yeah, exactly. Let me look at the VIX, guys. Volatility is stupid. The resting heart rate of the VIX over its entire life is a 20. We're down here. We almost broke 9 today, guys. Holy crap, I didn't see this get smashed into the close. So when we did this, the resting heart rate of the VIX right now is 11. And remember, the VIX reverts to its mean. So uncertainty, pop. Uncertainty goes away. Oh, whew. Uncertainty, pop. Holy Comey memo, Batman. Okay, he's either a felon or an idiot. It comes back. So we can trade the hell out of volatility, and I'll teach you how to do that when you become a member. Fish, you're too damn good to Nigerians don't compare to you. I appreciate that. Don't tell them that. I'm kidding. They're great dudes. But look at this, guys. Hopefully you wrote this down yesterday when you were in the primary live trade brief. When vol is cheap, you buy it. When it's expensive, you sell it. With a 10, write this down, new folks. With a 10 in front of that decimal point, you have got to buy the VIX with both hands. Now, can it go lower? Look at this. We went under 11 and kind of peace, love, and understanding broke out. Ganesh, Buddha, Muhammad, and Jesus are all cruising in a Cadillac, you know, down here in Fort Lauderdale, and there's nothing wrong. That's not, something bad's going to happen eventually, folks. This, you know, the Comey memo or whatever it was, I forget what this one was. See, it's a heart rate, okay? Think of a big pasta bowl. Put an orange on the end of it and let it go. It's going to eventually settle down in the middle there, and that's what volatility is. I don't want to talk about this for too long, but somebody, you know, Harry or one of my members is like, hey man, it is time for a bullish double vertical on VXX. So make sure you come on Friday, folks, even if you, and you can see for all the folks who are new tonight, and I'm new to you, even all my members come to our training, even though this is kind of I'm opening the door to new squadron members. All of our current squadron members usually show up to these anyway, and I'm honored, and that's cool. Okay. here we go. Let me close Camtasia here. So I wanted to do vertical spread training, but my strategic mindset, so make sure you have your trade plan on. My strategic mindset right now is what? It's got to be neutral. Okay, I was cautiously bullish through here. I said to neutral. I didn't switch to bearish here, did I? I didn't. I said it ain't the big one. This ain't Fred Sanford. I still remain cautiously neutral. So we're going to be neutral. When you join TGO or when you join Options Weapon School, everything looks like a nail if, well, I only trade call spreads. Well, man, you got to pull out the tactic. You need a toolkit. And I'm going to teach you the tactics in the 8 training sessions about how to employ just the right tactic at the right time. So step 1 of the trade plan is strategic mindset. Step 2 is the target. Now, it's the stock, it's the ETF, it's what I want to trade, okay? So I'm actually going to pick something hey, Rebecca, I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been? I'm going to pick something that everybody loves, either Apple or Facebook, and we'll probably go with Apple, because I think this is going to be remain range bound. So that is my target, step 2. Step 3, commit criteria. If you can't look at every trade in your portfolio right now and ripple off, talk to your wife, your husband, your significant other, and go, hey, let me try this on you. I'm in Apple because, boom, 3 to 5 laser-like airtight sentences. Not, well, I got a Mac and I have an iPhone, whiz. That's stupid. That's not even, shouldn't even be one of your sentences. Why are you committing capital to this trade? Why are you in it? And more importantly, folks, if your commit criteria ever change during the life of the trade, those 3 to 5 sentences that got you into it, why are you still in it? Many of you, I see light bulbs go on, they're like, holy crap. Because a trade starts going against you and you go, well, Apple doesn't hate me. It'll come back. Apple likes me. Apple doesn't give a who you are. They'll steamroll over this entire building. They loan money to God, man. They have so much cash. They don't care about little lowly you retail trader and your call spread, okay? So my commit criteria for this Iron Condor is, after trading Apple for years, Apple stair steps. After earnings or a big announcement, it goes up the stairs and levels off. It goes up, there's earnings, it goes up the stairs and levels off. Apple is going to be range bound, especially because of the China issues, the soft China, and even though Cook's saying that, we're going to deploy into India, I get it. Apple's going to remain range bound until a catalyst that I don't know about drives it either upper or higher. Okay, so I think we're going to remain in a nice tight range here. When you say, I don't see any catalyst on the horizon, there's no big developer conference, there's no iPhone 22 coming out, there's no Tim Cook speech coming up. I've done my research on Apple. You guys who have been here, I've been trading Apple since it was an acorn. I remember being on the stage at a Traders Expo, I forget when it was, 2008, whenever it was, recommending Apple, whatever it was, 70. I said, load the boat. So I know Apple. So that's the commit criteria. That was a little long, to be honest with you, but I think you get the gist. Now, I have my strategic mindset, neutral. I have my target, Apple. I have my commit criteria, which is what I just rambled through. Now, JP got into the Iron Condor yesterday for this week, up almost 50% at the close. There you go. So I'm not going to look at a weekly trade. This is going to be a little bit longer term. I'm going to give myself a little bit of leash for this thing to work. I'm going to go out three weeks. For those of you like Fish who have been here for years and years, Fish and a couple other folks will tell you, back in the day, I do an Iron Condor a month out. I mean, and then Bernanke came along and just QE 1, 2, 3, 4, Operation Twist, whatever, just kept going up. So, but here's what's funny is, whether it's a tweet, a terrorist attack, a Comey memo, a day, an hour is a lifetime in this market. So I'm not willing to go out, to June 23rd or June 30th. I like keeping the leash a little bit tighter in this market right now. Gerald, is it the WDC is 5 June? Why did I think July? Then we're going to 2 June. We're going to, where the hell's my notes? I thought that I put J-U-L, that's J-U-N. Whoever said that gets a gold star. Who said that? Nice job, man. Thank you, Gerald. Smithers. So now let me give you a little bit of a parlor trick that I showed some of you in our kind of a little bit of a weekly options brief yesterday. Go out to the expiration that you're thinking of trading, June 2nd in this case. Go and find the strike that is closest to at the money. Now the math is going to be way off on this little example, but it's going to be ballpark. There is no $153.34 strike. So look down here. And the math is really going to be off because it's no kidding right here, which sucks. Let me go a little high. Let me do the 155. I want you to click on 155. And here's what's, people are like, well, are you a chart guy? I'm like, I use everything, folks. Think of Wiz as like an ETH, the big AWACS. It looks like a UFO landed on a 707 and is trying to carry it away. There's like 25 people all looking at different sensors and stuff in the back of an AWACS. That's how I trade: volatility, fundamentals, technicals, politics. So I'm going to give you that well-rounded training of how to not just, it's funny that people, these chartists, these Fibonacci's, all this crap, they always know what the left side of a chart looks like, right? And then could they have, what Fibonacci or double pennant with a reverse bull flag showed the Comey stuff? It didn't. So nobody knows what the right side of the chart looks like, period. Next time some guy throws the chart Ouija board at you, say, well, what's the right side of it look like? Here's what you can do to, not to embarrass them, I don't want to do that, but here's what you can do as a little parlor trick. Say, you know what? The options market is pretty efficient. Here's the move. I'll show you what the right side of the chart may look like within a range. And here's how you predict that. You click on the closest strike to at the money, and then you just take a look at what is called the straddle. Now, if I lost you, don't worry about it. Don't worry about what a straddle is. Just know that what it can show you, okay? Now, you can see the blue line is Apple right here, and it's way off. If we were using the at the money, the real at the money straddle, it would, no kidding, be right in the gut there, and it would be about a 63% probability that Apple is going to stay in between these two strikes, okay? So the break even, where it says the break even, so this is the range that the option, remember this, the options market is pricing in a move between these two prices right here. That's a great place to start with an iron condor. Because first of all, people are like, Wiz, I need good, how do I pick a candidate for an iron condor? Well, I just gave you the commit criteria on what Apple does. It's a flight of stairs, folks. Look at the 5-year chart, up, level, up, level. We call it the stair stock. So I'll show you the candidates, and then I'll show you the parlor trick of what, because people just start throwing strikes around. I'm like, what is that based on? At least here, you can use the options market to go, hey, all right, well, this is what the smart people, so to speak, are pricing in as a potential move. So the what's that, the 158, I should get my glasses, and 152. So let's do the 152.5, and then we're going to have to, oh man, I don't like these strikes. What did I do in AR, folks? Hold on, let me take a look at the accelerated retirement portfolio, because we actually put this one on today, so give me 1 second. Give me 1 second to put, let's do this. Wealth creation, that's our accelerated retirement portfolio. And let's see what the strikes were. I think I went out, maybe I did go out past the WDC. Who was in AR today? And if this isn't going to work, I'll pick another, maybe we'll look at SPX Iron Condor, because I like those too. So I tried to leg into an iron condor. That's the other thing I'm going to teach you, folks, is the way I'm going to show you right now is you can enter an iron condor all as one trade, 4 individual legs it's called, or 2 separate spreads, a bear call spread and a bull put spread. I call this a football trade, right? I'm going to set up some uprights, and as long as we don't Florida State this thing to the left or to the right, no offense, Florida State fans, as long as it goes through the uprights, it can even hit an upright and go in, we're going to be good. So I did the 157. I did go past the WDC. Yep. You know what? And you know what? Let me get back to this, because I was fine with that. We've already they've pre-released. There's usually never any super major announcement. And if there is, that's, all right, let me get back on my horse here. Let's go a little bit. Let's just start building this. I'm going to click on create spread. And what's cool about Options House is when you click on the options chain, up pop the most common tactics that you're going to use. So you don't have to start. I know Tom Sosnoff from Thinkorswim and a bunch of other folks and stuff, but this is, I just don't have an affinity for it because I helped build it, but I kind of do. It's the best for options traders. It's got 5 stars, all that stuff, and it's going to be kind of a weird iron condor because the strikes are a little all over the place. So exactly, it's an unbalanced, Rogelio, you're right, an unbalanced iron condor. So let's go with the 157s and a half and the 160s. Let's see what type of risk this gives us. I'm not even going to take a look at the contracts. So and you can skew your iron condors, and just so you know, folks, when you sign up for Options Weapons School, when I do the iron condor session, it will literally be an hour and a half to 2 hours on an iron condor, and nobody will leave the room with a question mark over their head or a clue bird flapping on their shoulder. So if I'm moving just a hair fast, it's because we want you to sign up for Options Weapons School. Let me make sure the probabilities. Yeah, I could do about. Let me try 50 contracts. I'll slow down a second here. I'll come back and grab you, and we'll build the whole trade together. Nope, 35-ish. Okay, and I'm just doing the contracts based on my risk, which we'll talk about in a second. Boom. All right, now let me get back to the tactic. Here it is. So I kind of started, as I said, a picture's worth 1,000 words. This is a football trade. Here's your uprights. So an iron condor is a range, you think something's going to be range bound. It's going to move. If it doesn't move, there's no volatility and there's no premium. There's some premium in this trade. Why? Because the WDC. And I like skewing this iron condor a little bit, for all my golfers. I got a little bit of a fade in here because I think the risk in this trade is actually to the upside. I think maybe they do, hey, gee whiz, at the WDC. Sometimes they do pull something out of their you-know-what. So let's talk about the left upright. This is called a bull put spread, okay? Well, Wiz, I thought it was going to be range bound. Well, I think it's going to stay above a certain strike, and then it's going to stay below a certain strike. And this certain strike on the right is called a bear call spread. So it's 2 credit spreads, okay? And again, if you're new to options, I hated this. I'm like, wait a minute, it's a vertical spread. Yeah. It's a credit spread. Well, you can call it that too. And it's also a bull put spread. Yeah. It's called 3 things. That's great. I tend to call the tactic what the direction is. This is a bull put spread, okay? So I'm going to sell 35. Why 35, dude? Give me 2 minutes. Of the June 2nd, we talked about why. We'll get out of this, before the WDC. 152.5 puts. That's me saying, hey, Apple, I don't think you're going below 152.5 by June 2nd. All right, Wiz, you said you're not Nostradamus. What if the world, Apple implodes? Tim Cook, we find out in the news tomorrow he's Satan. I don't know. And it goes to 0. Well, it's going to suck, but we're buying these puts, the 150 puts, and that's our hedge to the downside. That's what makes this a vertical spread. And whenever you sell something, folks, remember this. You're the car dealership here in Fort Lauderdale. You're the MGM Grand in Miami. Whenever you sell something, you get paid. It's called a credit spread. Whenever you buy something, give me that Maserati, well, enjoy your midlife crisis. It's a debit spread. I don't like debit spreads unless somebody else is paying for it, okay? And we'll talk about that in your training. It's called a bullish double vertical when we can get a sugar daddy or sugar mama down here in South Florida. So that's called the bull put spread. Okay, Wiz, well, what's it range bound to the north? Now we're going to sell what is called a bear call spread. I'm going to sell 35. Dude, you're losing me on the 35. Give me 1 minute. The 35 of the 157.5 calls, okay? And buying, Wiz, Tim Cook came out yesterday or tomorrow, and he turns out he is, the second coming, and the stock goes to 1,000. Well, we're hedged up to the upside here. If it blows through 160, we have a hedge on there as well. Okay. So actually, let me, I'll grab a screenshot of this since it is training, and I'll post this with the recording and email it out to you. Everything's recorded here. If you're sitting there like, well, Wiz, during your weekly options brief on Apple training, I work for a living. Well, guess what? You get text alerts, you get the email, you can watch the replay at lunch, when the kids go to bed, whenever. I'm going to click on create order. And of course, I'm going to go mid-market. All right, I'm never going to, 1 second here, guys. Okay, 1 second. Sorry, when my kids get done with hockey, I'm going to acknowledge them. That's good. My son is playing, what's he, juniors next year? If any of you guys are hockey fans. Man, hold on one. Send. Okay. So the Iron Condor here, guys. Go Penguins, exactly. I'm not concerned about it as a target, Deborah. Well, let me get through the trade here. So you got to go mid-market. All right. And as I said, you can, I'll talk about, we're already down here at what, step 5 or 6, the tactical employment of this trade. We can either, when you press send on this, the market makers and all the electronics see this as one trade, right? Even though it's 4 legs. Or we could break it up into 2 individual spreads like I did in accelerated retirement this afternoon. I could break it up into just the bull put spread and just the bear call spread. Well, which one would you put on first? Well, since it was down a little bit today, I'd probably put on the bull put spread, and because there's a higher premium. I'd wait a little bit if the stock recovers today or tomorrow. If it pops a little, then you put on the bear call spread. Why? Because then there's more premium. Now, a lot of you laughed yesterday when this happened. I turned into a Catholic nun briefly. I'm going to do it again tonight. You ready? Even though I'm wearing, my like a priest shirt. I'm going to click analyze, and I'm going to teach you the discipline here, TGO, to stare at one thing and one thing only first. And you ready? The sad face. Not mine. I'm happy as hell. Max loss. I'm going to teach you that you need to come up with a trade SOP, standard operating procedure. I, as a portfolio manager, TGO, don't want to risk more than $5,000 on any one trade, 5% of a $100,000 model portfolio. Why? Why not? After doing this for a quarter of a century, that's what I'm comfortable with. I only want to risk 2.5%. Great. I want to risk 1%. I want to risk 50. Not so great. You sign for the jet, folks. You're literally the pilot in command of your own portfolio. I can't give you investment advice. Can't tell you any of that stuff because I'm not I'm not a guy that takes you out to lunch, makes you pay for it, and then asks all the questions about risk, how much, and we don't do that. You get to look over my shoulder and eavesdrop. What you do on the other side of your computer is your own business, and you have got to paper trade before you ever put any real capital at risk. So yeah, it's a little north of $5,000. I signed for the jet. I signed for this portfolio. I'm good to go. Now, max potential profit. Now I can look up here and say 2,900 bucks. Well, with these using at the money volatility, these don't look too great. There's some volatility in this trade, folks, because of the WDC. Now look at the break evens. There's a 54% probability of this trade at least breaking even. Isn't that awesome? Well, and again, I'll train you on how to manage these. Apple, save as, Apple training 524 metric. Okay, so this actually is a pretty damn good trade in my opinion. Well, the risk to reward, that's another thing you have to come up with your SOP. I think I saw in the comment box your name was David. David, a 1 to a 0.5 isn't that bad to me, to be honest with you. That's kind of right in the wheelhouse there. Okay, good. So if that risk to reward isn't you, then maybe change the strikes, do less contracts, whatever it is, or do more contracts. And again, I really don't get into that. So let's take a look, and I don't want your eyes to glaze over, at an important Greek in this trade. It's theta. Now, since we sold 2 spreads, we were the MGM Grand, we were the car dealer, we like theta. As soon as you peel out in your midlife crisis out of the Maserati dealer here in Fort Lauderdale, he's going back to the office counting those hundreds, right? And what's going on? As you're zipping down the road, you get time decay. It ain't good, man. We all know about the depreciation of a car, right? It's not good. So if your significant other calls and says your midlife crisis is over, yes, dear, take the car back. Yes, dear. As soon as you pull back in that parking lot, man, I'd be like, yeah, you bought it for $250, and I'll take it back off your hands for $200,000. Okay. Paul, the probabilities are calculated. Each broker has their own, black box formula of how they calculate volatility, okay? It's their secret sauce. So this is using current at the money volatility for Apple. Okay, Apple's got its own VIX, by the way, folks. There are some stocks who actually have their own volatility index. That's pretty cool. That's a separate subject. Now let's talk about some trade management and some exit plan. Since this is a credit spread, if I ever see a 7, 8, or 9 in front of my profit, get out. Meaning a 70, 80, 90% gain, get out. Okay, write that down. Well, I want the full profit. Then you're going to get shot down, folks. Don't be the person that takes a 83% winning trade and then something happens, a Comey memo the next day, and you turn a 83% winning trade into a 100% losing trade. You don't have to raise your hands or say, that's me, or it's happened to me. It's happened to me, folks. Remember, I was an amateur, a pro-am, right? I went pro. I did stupid things. Remember to stand on the shoulders of the folks that have gone before you, okay? I mean, it's just that simple. I've made all these lessons or these mistakes in the past, and you're here to learn from them, okay? So trade management. Let's set, exactly, people are still saying me. So that's the profit target. What about the loss? Here's how I calculate what are called adjust and eject levels, okay? There's two different levels in a trade. And actually, I took a screenshot of this, so everybody should have it. Let me talk about adjust and eject levels because I don't talk about them as an iron condor as a whole. Because let's think about this, folks. Look at the uprights. Unless you're Charlie Brown and Lucy is holding the football for you, the apple can't hit both. You can't lose on both spreads. The football doesn't split in mid-flight, and you lose money on both spreads. So if the stock is going to move up or down, only one of the spreads is going to be in a little bit of danger, right? So we would talk about an adjust level. That level, when the trade is valued at the point where you scratch your chin and go, why is Apple moving this way? And should I adjust the trade? The eject level is I went for a run this morning, market's open, let me sit down, holy crap, Apple's, this spread's at this. You're on fire. You smell smoke in the cockpit, there's 2 engine fire lights on, and your wingman's yelling, whiz, you're on fire. That's not the time to sit there and rub your chin and go, I wonder if I can save this airplane. That's the time to reach between your legs, pull the ejection handle, and get out. Okay? So let me use this, our weekly trade JP was talking about. It's up 33%, $400. Raghu, I didn't do anything with it. I'm holding that SPX trade. If you listen to my strategic mindset, Raghu, when I put the SPX bear call spread on for the week, I think this market fades into Friday, man. It's a long weekend. Everybody, and by the way, members, we're not doing a weekly options brief Monday, Memorial Day, so we'll do a joint session Tuesday morning. And for everybody who signs up tonight as well, joint session Tuesday morning. But Raghu, I don't think the market's going to be long going into a long weekend, let alone a regular weekend. But I don't want to get off track here. We can talk about that at the end. So let's take a look at this bull put spread. This is the 150, 152.5, but this is my weekly trade out to Friday. Now, I'm going to pull up this little exit plan, dude. Here's the exit plan. So my time horizon is what? Well, Friday. It's a weekly options trade, Wiz. So my profit target, and if you're new to trading options, this might be counterintuitive for a second, but let me explain it. I took in a credit of, what, 48 cents to do this trade. I got my 48 cents. You just peeled out in your Maserati. I want every one of those 48 cents in my pocket, okay? So I want all of it. The profit target, I want all cents in my pocket, and if that happens, I make $1,200 this week on this Apple bull put spread, okay? Now, if mysteriously this, Apple starts fading and this trade starts going up in value. Now, don't think of up in value as a good thing. It's almost like golf. You have to think, when you learn about golf, you're like, wait a minute, he's got a high score in that hole. That's horrible. So if this starts going up in price to 52, 58, 60 cents, the trade's moving against us and we're losing a little bit of scratch. So instead of being the undisciplined retail trader that I know you are, guaranteed right now, put in a level that's called the adjust level. And for me, that's a 75% loss of the credit that I took in. So it's right here. If this trade goes up in value to 84 cents, that's my adjust level, 75%, I go, why is Apple moving against me? And here's how I could potentially adjust this spread. Here's what we could do. You know what? I think Apple's just fading a little bit. It's Thursday. I'm going to hold this to Friday. Here's my commit criteria and my strategic mindset are still sound. You could maybe stay in the trade. That's not an adjustment, but you could stay in it. You could also do what? Maybe you could roll it down a couple strikes by Friday. I don't think Apple's imploding, but Wiz, as you always say, Apple tends to sell into the close on Friday, so let me give myself a little cushion. I'm going to roll the trade down. So that's adjustment number one you can do. Adjustment number two might be, I still like these strikes, but I think this trade needs a little bit more time to work. I think Trump's going to get home, good victory, good tour in Europe, and he's going to get a bounce. He's already getting a bounce in the polls, market, blah, blah, blah. Maybe, Wiz, I'm just going to roll this trade out to next Friday. You can do it. Just click, and I'll show you this when you guys become, and I'll do it live, obviously, like you guys see me doing my live trading. Or the third adjustment is what? Both. You know what, Wiz? I'm going to roll it down a couple strikes to give it some airspace and out to next Friday. Okay? So those are the three potential ways to adjust this spread. Now remember, we don't necessarily have to adjust the iron condor. People always do the, well, if the bear call spread's making money, do you want to shift the uprights? And you can go crazy managing an iron condor, folks. I'll tell you different ways to do it. I set it and forget it usually. If the football is going through the uprights, I'm looking good. I usually don't play with the, if the bear call spread hits my 7, 8, or 9, I'll get out. But there's people that overmanage iron condors. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. Paul, that's a good one. Maybe we'll talk Disney at the end. I got to get cruising here because I'm running a little bit late. So now the fourth way to potentially adjust this is what? Maybe this, you don't have to wait for your eject point. What is my eject point, guys? Write this down. I double the credit that I took in, 48 cents, sorry. So I double that. What's that, 96 cents? I double the credit that I took in. If I come back from a run or get off a coaching call and I'm like, holy crap, Apple's up, the spread's at 96 cents. Eject. Now, you are going to see when you become a member, there are some times where I fly through the eject point. I'm going to tell you right now, crap, it's in my office. I wanted to show you the first page of every Navy flight manual. The flight manuals are this thick, folks, and we say they're written in blood. Why? When the F-18 came off the assembly line, I think the engineers came up with, well, these are some emergencies we could maybe, it can happen, maybe 2 pages of emergency procedures. 25 years later, the F-18 emergency procedure section is probably 100 pages. Why? It's written in blood. Okay? But the first page of every Navy flight manual says this: nothing in this manual can take the place of good headwork and judgment from the pilot in command. Translation to civilian folks. You can deviate from the procedures in here. You can fly through where it says eject on the checklist, but you better have a damn good reason and it better work out for you or we're going to kill you, or you better hope you're dead. No, I'm kidding with that part. So does everybody understand that? And it is, Fish, it is effing hard sometimes. And I'll tell you that, folks. Hey, man, I'm heading through the eject here, but remember this, guys, and this is why you got to sign up for TGO, man. And I'm not a marketer, but I believe in this stuff. If your strategic mindset that you wrote down in your trade plan and your commit criteria are still sound, Wiz, those 3 sentences didn't change, then stay with it. Have I flown through my eject and gotten killed in a couple trades? Yeah, they're very few and far between. Have I gotten to my eject and gone, yeah, I better get out of this? Yeah. But that's why you're here. You're going to sit in the back seat of my Hornet for hopefully another 7 years, and we're going to we're going to do it. Okay. Well, exactly, Rogelio. If you over adjust, or I'll say this tongue in cheek, premature eject, it will be very frustrating to you. That's why you have to be disciplined. You literally have to write down on a piece of paper, in an Excel sheet, in a Word doc, your trade plan. So when it is a lucky strike moment, when you want to pull out a filterless cigarette and take a swig of Jack, read your commit criteria, read your strategic mindset, and if they're still valid, put your cigar in your mouth, put your scarf out of your canopy, even if there's fire in your face, okay? I'm telling you, you will die sometimes, but more often than not, if everything is sound, your commit and you're strategic, you're good to go. Damn right. Good. Rogelio, I do keep a trade log since I joined as a lifetime member. There you go, Rogelio. And Rogelio is one of our lifetime members that signed up last week when we made that offer. Yes, I will get to it, folks. Now, this is usually around people are like, all right, dude, got it. Let's talk about how we get on board here. So I'll answer as many questions as I can here. So we talked about this stuff yesterday. Here's what I want to do. I'll take questions and just give me 5 minutes. I'm going to open the slots tonight. I'm going to do an urgent alert brief tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. bright and early. So I'm also going to let you guys go for that. So 10 a.m. we will be doing that. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me tell these. My kids keep. Sometimes my kids come in, guys, and I have to say hi to them, so no offense. Mike, let me answer that in a little bit here, guys. All good questions. I'm going to open the slots tonight. Not like full throttle, folks. We're not doing 50. I'm only doing 25. I throttle the amount of members in here because I don't like large, massive trading rooms where I can't answer everybody's question. Yesterday, we had nearly 1,000 people in there, and it was driving me nuts. So we keep a very tight squadron here at TGO. So only 25 slots, not 50 like full throttle, and they're going to be definitely gone by Friday. So, but people emailed support and said, hey, can you, I'm ready now. Well, if you're ready now, I'll hook you up. Okay, so here we go. This is really, folks, Options Weapons School is pretty cool. We call it Options Weapons School because the Navy Fighter Weapons School, we talked about Top Gun 2 coming out, is the best of the best, okay? Doug Robertson, our volatility arbitrage trader, you're not going to see him this week because this isn't full throttle, but he teaches full throttle. I teach Options Weapons School. I'm not going to go through testimonials, guys. Hopefully the proof is in men lie, numbers don't. I've shown you the performance in 2016, our year-to-date performance here. A ton of our members are doing extremely well, and I'll leave it at that. I got a couple bottles of Camus. I got a complete coffee set. Members, I appreciate when you guys thanking me for stuff, but I'm very passionate about this, and you don't need to do that stuff anymore. But here's my mission objectives in Options Weapons School. So Options Weapons School, it's an annual membership, and you're going to get 8 training sessions with me. Plus, I'll show you the what you get access to, which portfolios. You're going to implement the SOT methodology and the 7-step trade plan, so I can show you how to potentially profit in any market condition, okay, up, down, or sideways, okay? I'm going to teach you to hedge like a portfolio manager, okay, folks? You need some disaster stuff on right now. Something's going to be a disaster, and when it happens, it's going to be awful. Okay, a lot of people, a lot of smart folks I know are just sitting on their hands right now, folks. It is that dry forest, and we're running around with signal flares. So I'll teach you how to hedge, and we'll talk about a hedge on Friday. Limit risk and maximize your profit potential. That's what it's all about, folks. Whether you're flying a Hornet or trading options, you want to limit your risk. You don't want to be absolutely nuts, okay? And potentially achieve triple-digit returns and outperform the market. So that's going to be Options Weapons School. Here's the value stack, folks. You'll get a full year of what we did yesterday morning. It's every Tuesday at 10 a.m. That slide's wrong. Let me fix that. At 10 a.m. with me. And remember, well, Wiz, I work for a living. 80% of our members work, folks. They get the text alert. They get the follow-up email afterwards with the screenshots of the trade, and they can watch the replay at their leisure, okay? The urgent alert service as well, which usually is a video by me once a week whenever I see a good trade along with a portfolio review. And also, folks, due to popular demand, I'm going to add weekly options. If you want to upgrade, or not upgrade, if you just want to do the add weekly options as well, you can do that as well. You're going to get emails, text alerts. You're also going to get our 3 manuals, and you're also going to get all the training led by me, okay? Thanks, Werner. I appreciate it. So all the training led by me. 8 sessions, and if you can't attend, obviously everything's going to be recorded and it's live, okay? And the 8-week training sessions alone, folks, cost about $495. I'm going to give a break to my current members. It's only $195 for you guys, okay? Joseph, do me a favor, email support and say, hey, you know, because we know you're an existing member, we'll send you the link to get the My Training Only. It's $195. Email support@topgunoptions.com. Okay. And then obviously you're going to get access to all the manuals you need. Okay. Dino, Wiz, will the OWS training videos you're doing in 2 weeks replace the Jan 17 we have as members? Those aren't Jan 17. I think those are Jan 16s. I think that was a typo, Dino. Yeah. So they're not going to replace them. You're not going to get access to those, Dino. It's going to be $195. Those are going to stay the Jan 16 ones. Okay. It's, you know, I'm not a charity, guys. You guys, I know I'm passionate about this, and you know, we're significantly, if you ask me, underpriced in a lot of areas. But no, it's $195 to get the refreshed training, Dino. Okay. And there's the bad news. It's going to be 25 folks, and I'm going to give you the link right now and show you that page. Okay. So let me show you the page, and we'll go there right now. So here it is, folks. And like I said, it's real easy. Go.topgunoptions.com/getows. That ain't that hard to remember, so let me throw that in here. You bet, Dino. Just shoot an email to support@topgunoptions. All my current members, if you want access to my training, go ahead and email support, okay? And they'll hook you up. Let me throw this in the chat box. So here you go, folks. Here's the price. And if you're like, oh, a couple of you have like, I went through your full throttle week last time and wasn't ready. This isn't full throttle, folks. There's less services here, so it's cheaper than full throttle. Options Weapon School is $995 a year if you want the primary live trade brief and the urgent alert service, okay, and my 8 weeks. If you want Options Weapon School plus, you know what, Wiz? I want to take my trading a little bit supersonic. I want to trade weekly options as well. It's $14.95 a year, okay? And you get everything that's on this page. The primary live trade briefs, Tuesday at 10. The weekly option service, this is optional, guys. You got to choose that box on the right if you want to add weekly options. And then you get the urgent alert service as well, excuse me. Here is the academic training, okay? Here's all the sessions you're going to get. They're going to be recorded, and they're going to be archived, and you can watch forever. And then here's the manuals you're going to get as well. You can't obviously be in flight school without your manuals. Okay? So there it is, man. Like I said, this it's a 70. I got to do the math on this. I hope it's not a 75% discount. I think it is, though. I think we wanted to do, and the numbers down here, and the emails down here as well, guys. Yeah. All right. Welcome aboard, Steve. Harry, I missed your training last time, so I do want to do it live. I watched the ones in members already. No, if you're a current member, it's that you don't count as one of the 25 slots because you guys are already factored into my math of keeping TGO tight. No, so the 25 limit doesn't apply to current members because you guys are already in the services. And the reason we didn't do 50 is because we only have room for 25 new TGO people. You guys know, the folks that are already here know all of this, and it's the truth. I know no other way to be. I don't like a zoo, man. I can't be in a live trade brief, and it's creeping me out a little bit right now that there's a lot of great questions scrolling through because I don't want to leave any room, and I won't leave any room when you're a member with any question marks over your head. Harry, you'll be there. Email support@topgunoptions.com, and it's only $195 for you, Harry. Okay. So yeah, here's the page. It's Get OWS. For whatever reason, like I don't know, internet stuff, the URL changes to some other thing. But yeah, that's the page right there. Okay, so $995 for the 8 sessions, an annual membership into the primary live trade brief, and the urgent alert service. And like I said, here's the urgent alert, folks, and it's combined with weekly options. But I mean, look at this, folks. I'm only deploying about 57% of this capital. You can't be 100. I mean, my God, man, if this thing was all brown, I'd jump out the window. You can't be 100% in this market right now, right? So I'm only employing about half of that, and look at the performance, man. This will be up triple digits if I don't fall and hit my head. Okay. I can't pronounce your first name. I can't get the handout to open, load. Can it be emailed to me? Shoot an email to support@topgunoptions.com, and I guess we can email you the PDF. Nobody else has complained that they couldn't open it. Okay. Chris, if I've done full throttle already, I can get OWS for $195. Yes, Chris. So one more time for existing members. If you're an existing member and you want my training, it's not $495. It's $195. Email support@topgunoptions.com. Okay? Or actually, hold on. You know what, guys? Give me 1 second. One second, guys. I think my techie emailed me. You know what? I don't want to confuse people. I was going to give you the direct link to buy it right now. Existing members, I don't want to confuse. You know, there's new members potentially in here, and they might be clicking on that link and thinking they're getting it for $195. That ain't happening. So, all right. So, folks, yeah, welcome aboard, Steve. Awesome. And my phone's buzzing a little bit, which means people are good to go and getting on board. Good. All right. And welcome aboard, Jennifer. Hold on 1 second. Good. Awesome, guys. I'm fired up. Yeah, the link's right there, guys. Let me delete these. The link is here. go.topgunoptions.com/getows. Now, I will stay here for a little bit and answer your questions about the Iron Condor. Like I said, that will be an 1.5 to 2 hour long session by itself. And I know this was about 1 hour and 7 minutes, and we'll be good to go. Andreas, $9.95 for weekly if someone joins today. Yeah, Andreas, you're a current member. This is for those guys. Yep. JP, join, and I will guarantee you we'll have a whole lot more cheddar in the bank by end of the year. JP's up over 42%. And folks, I know you can't read the comments, so I'm actually going to take a screenshot of that so you guys can see men lie, numbers don't. So there's JP's comment right there. JP's been on board for about a year. Chris, did you adjust the Goldman Sachs front month short today? Chris, why don't you sign up and we'll talk about that. But no, I didn't touch it today. I think the Fed thing's a little, the little bit of a Fed bounce is going to fade the rest of the week. Go JP, Fish said. Have a good night, Wiz. We'll call in the morning to get the, good, okay. You know what, guys, like I said, this should sell itself. If you want to see the urgent alert tomorrow, all right, Wiz, I want to see the rest of the week, the urgent alert, great, and the weekly options brief on Friday and your hedging, awesome. I will warn you, and my current members can tell you, if we get 25 by Friday, I'll still do the webinars, but you're not going to get a slot. And there was at least, before I got on the air tonight, there was at least 7 people that contacted support today that said, hey, how do I sign up and stuff? We didn't give them this link, so literally I'm firing the gun in the air right now for you guys to get on board. Everybody on an even playing field. I don't like giving the link out early, okay? I'm very disciplined about stuff here, okay? So yeah, it's right here, folks. Whoever asked, can I get the link? Here it is. Chris, if you sign up for the training, will you include the alert service as well? Folks, let me try this one more time. This is an annual membership. For $9.95, you get the primary live trade brief every Tuesday, and you get the urgent alert service with me, and you get the 8 sessions that I'm going to teach in a couple weeks. That's $9.95 for a year. If you want to add weekly options to your plate, it's $14.95, okay? PLTB, urgent alert, weekly options. So the question about the training there, this is an annual membership for all the live trading, and then I do 8 weeks right here at the beginning of it, okay? After the 8 weeks is over, you're still in your annual membership. Does that make sense, Chris? Dino, when I checked earlier the date under each, oh, it says, Dino, those aren't Jan 2017. I did not do those, I don't think. Did I do? I'll take a look. Wiz, have to leave. You'll hear from me. Thanks, Werner. I appreciate it. You are very patient with the marketing. It's a surprise some of us trade options. Thank you, Rogelio. I appreciate that. Guys, if you can't tell, I'm not a marketer. I'd be doing this alone. I have done it alone, but now, I'm a military guy, folks. You put down the ladder. Some smart ass the other day is like, well, if you were so brilliant and these portfolios did that great, why aren't you managing $1 billion? I'm like, I did do that, dude. Did you sleep through the bio slides? I ran a $3.5 billion Vol Arb firm. I got mine. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not a jerk like most Wall Street guys who pulls the ladder up. I got mine, peasants. I put the ladder down, man, because I've been you. I've been a retail trader, and I needed, If I had TGO, man, when I was in your shoes, crap. I'd be Donald Trump. Thanks for passing on the knowledge. You bet, Rogelio. Harry, one trade can pay for your membership. The trading will be a life changer, even if you do not like the politics. Thanks, Harry. I appreciate it. All right, guys, I'm going to split because I'm going to go get something to eat. I'm going to go look at my stuff for tomorrow. 10 a.m. tomorrow morning is our urgent alert brief. Maybe we'll take a look at a hedge tomorrow morning instead of Friday. It's all fluid, folks. I mean, literally, as I watch what's going on in the market, my trade ideas change for the next day. What will be the schedule for the training, Chris? It'll be, what's that, 4 weeks? It'll be 4 weeks every Tuesday and Thursday night at 7, okay? That's probably what we'll do for 4 weeks. Make sense? You bet, Dino. I'll see you. So, Chris, it'll be Tuesday and Thursday nights. It'll start in a couple weeks. Everything's recorded. And it goes, I usually pop open a bottle of Pinot Noir or Pinot Grigio, and we just kick back and we talk about that tactic for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So the training alone is where I've seen the training that I do cost about $3,000 a year in other places. That's just, I think they're way above market. I hope I'm mid-market and I'm not giving stuff away, but we good. JP, peace out. Have a good night. You bet, man. Braveheart hold. You got it. All right, guys. Like I said, I'm going to actually pop a bottle of that. I'm going to go get some Italian food down the street at Cafe Moderano's if you're ever down here in Lauderdale. We're having a live event down here in a couple weeks, all my TGO members. You got to stop by there. So Chris, absolutely, man. Welcome aboard. Hopefully my phone's buzzing, which means a lot of these slots are going. Like I said, it's only 25. If you've seen me before and you didn't become a member, but you'd like to now, it ain't 50. There's only 25 memberships available for Options Weapons School. It's a little tighter than Full Throttle. So if you've done Full Throttle or you at least did a full week of Full Throttle, you can't get into that right now. Maybe when some of those bodies atrophy, okay? Yeah, the replay page is right here, guys. go.topgunoptions.com/replay. Okay? All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. I'll see many of you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. and welcome aboard to, it looks like, the 5 or 6 folks that are grabbing their slots right now. Okay? God bless. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and I'll see you all many of you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. or I'll see you in the replay. Good night.